Hey everyone! Today, we're diving into how Netflix stays on top of its game using something called the PESTEL framework. It sounds fancy, but it's basically just a smart way to look at everything happening outside the company: politics, the economy, culture, tech, the environment, and the law. Let's break it down and see what's really going on behind the scenes at Netflix. Netflix is everywhere, but that also means it has to deal with all kinds of outside challenges. Governments changing the rules, people spending less money, new tech popping up overnight, it's a lot. PESTEL helps Netflix spot these changes early, so they can adapt and keep entertaining us no matter what's going on in the world. Let's start with the political environment that affects Netflix. Netflix operates around the world, which means it must follow different government rules and regulations. One big example is the European Union's Digital Services Act, which became law in 2024. This law requires companies like Netflix to be much more transparent about how they moderate content and how they use recommendation algorithms. This forces Netflix to invest more in compliance and reporting, especially in Europe, making it more expensive to operate there. Another important political factor is Netflix's lobbying activity in the United States. In 2023, Netflix spent about $1.2 million on federal lobbying efforts. They mainly focused on shaping policies around copyright protection, media regulation, and digital taxation. By lobbying, Netflix tries to create a more favorable business environment and protect its competitive edge. Finally, political stability and international trade policies also matter. When Netflix plans to expand into new countries, it must consider if the government is stable, if censorship rules exist, and how easy it is to do business there. Now let's look at the economic factors that influence Netflix. First, the global video streaming market is growing fast. It was valued at about $554 billion in 2023 and is expected to reach $1.9 trillion by 2032. This means more opportunities for Netflix to grow internationally, but also more competition. However, rising inflation is putting pressure on consumers' wallets. In the United States, inflation increased from 2.9% in December 2024 to 3.0% in January 2025. This may cause people to cut back on extra expenses, like multiple streaming subscriptions. Netflix is already feeling this pressure. In January 2025, they raised the price of their premium plan from $22.99 to $23.99. While price hikes help Netflix bring in more revenue, they also risk losing subscribers who are looking for cheaper options. Overall, Netflix needs to balance growth and pricing carefully to survive in a tough economic environment.
Now let's have a look at sociocultural factors. As Netflix continues expanding across borders, it isn't just global scale, it's global stories. To stay relevant, Netflix invests heavily in cultural diversity and inclusive storytelling. From Orange is the New Black to Unorthodox and 13 Reasons Why, Netflix shines a light on underrepresented voices. And its localized hits like Lupin in France and Sacred Games in India show how storytelling can adapt to local cultures. But with global reach comes a responsibility. Not every attempt hits the mark. Shows like Elite and Sex Education have faced criticism for feeling too Americanized, even when produced abroad. Still, with 83% of US households using at least one streaming service, and 26% of Netflix users binge-watching weekly, the platform has successfully shaped a new cultural norm, one built on personalization, engagement, and yes, a bit of binge-watching addiction. From culture to code, let's dive into the technological factors that power Netflix's global dominance. Behind the scenes, Netflix is powered by cutting-edge tech. Its partnership with Amazon Web Services, AWS, allows it to store massive libraries of content and stream to over 190 countries. AWS provides scalable computing, secure cloud storage, and advanced data processing that powers Netflix's personalized recommendations. Those just-for-you suggestions aren't just guesswork, they're driven by AI. Netflix even built its own content delivery network, OpenConnect, to improve streaming quality and reduce buffering. Together, these tools help Netflix deliver a seamless user experience, whether you're on your phone, laptop, or smart TV. But all that streaming and server power comes with a price. Let's take a closer look at the environmental impact of Netflix's operations. Netflix's carbon footprint rose nearly 50% in 2021, reaching 1.54 million tons of CO2. Half of that comes from show production, with things like air travel and diesel generators driving up emissions. To offset this, Netflix uses carbon credits and renewable energy certificates, RECs, but both are controversial and don't always result in real-world change. They've also started switching to electric vehicles and investing in green tech like hydrogen fuel cells and mobile batteries. Still, Netflix doesn't account for emissions from devices people use to stream, like TVs or phones. Experts say it could do more, like offering low-def options or tweaking autoplay features, but there's currently no regulation forcing them to act. Finally, let's explore the legal factors: how Netflix protects its innovations and navigates privacy regulations around the world. Netflix protects its brand with trademarks on its red N logo and name, and holds patents for features like skip intro and AI-powered recommendations. These protect Netflix's innovations and strengthen its competitive edge. To reduce dependency on expensive licenses, Netflix spent $14.7 billion on licensed content in 2019. The company invests in its own productions, like Stranger Things and Bridgerton, which it fully owns and controls. But with great data comes great responsibility. Netflix collects vast amounts of user data, so it must comply with laws like the GDPR and California's CCPA. From 2018 to 2020, Netflix failed to meet transparency standards under the GDPR and was fined €4.75 million by Dutch regulators. They've since updated their privacy policies, but it's a reminder that even digital giants must play by the rules when it comes to user trust. As we've seen, Netflix's position as the world's leading streaming platform isn't just shaped by the content we see on screen, but by the forces behind it. It's shaped by global political, economic, social, technological, environmental, and legal forces. It faces regulatory pressure, economic shifts, and must stay culturally aware as it grows worldwide. Tech innovation through AWS and AI gives it a competitive edge, but its rising carbon footprint and data privacy issues show there's still room for improvement. To stay on top, Netflix must keep adapting, not just to what we watch, but to the world around it.